Hello, my name is Sharon Pillar, and I am the Project Director of Solarize Allegheny. And I'm glad that you joined us today to learn a little bit more about the RFP process for Phase 2 of Solarize Allegheny as we choose another set of communities to participate in our program. So if you bear with me for a moment, I will share my screen with you so that you can see the presentation. To reach me, you can email me at spillar@smartpower.org, which is probably the best way to get me, or call my cell phone, 412-215-5995, and I'd be very happy to talk with communities as you're trying to fill out the RFP and get it ready for submission. A little bit about Solarize Allegheny. We're very excited to have the support from the Heinz Endowments to actually bring this campaign to our communities in Allegheny County. And we have the support from many partners, including Connect, CCI Center, GTech, Sustainable Pittsburgh, Sustainability Pioneers, and SunWIPA, which is the Solar Unified Network of Western Pennsylvania. And we're working closely with these partners to get the word out, and also to help spread the benefits and the message about solar energy. Smart Power is the organization that I work for, and we are leading this campaign. So who is Smart Power? Smart Power is the nation's leading nonprofit marketing firm dedicated to promoting clean, renewable energy and energy efficiency. And our mission is to help Americans make smart energy choices by creating on-the-ground campaigns that engage the public and generate measurable energy actions. We've been around for a while, for over 12 years now, and we're formed by some of the nation's largest foundations. We're very well known for the community outreach and the campaigns that we do. These are a few of the logos that we have participated in and led, including the Solarize Connecticut, Solarize Mass, and we have Solarize projects starting in Rhode Island and South Carolina, Westchester County, and of course here in Allegheny County. So first of all, before I tell you a little bit more about the campaign, I just wanted to give you a little overview of what's happening in the solar market around the United States. So solar is the leading and fastest growing energy source around the world. And this graph shows you the bar graphs that are leading up or growing across since 2004 as the amount of solar that we've had put online across the United States every single year. And the line graph that shows that it's coming down across this graph shows you the price of solar. And that really is what's driving this installations for homes and businesses and even utilities across our nation to go solar. In the United States, we have almost actually now 4 million households, who, enough solar to power that many households, and more than 16 gigawatts of solar that is currently installed. And that's growing very, very rapidly every year. The question that we get in Pennsylvania, particularly in Western Pennsylvania, is that it's so cloudy here that solar must not work. And in fact, that's absolutely not true. Solar in Pennsylvania works very well. And if you look at this map, you can see Germany, which is this down on the right-hand corner. You can see Germany is this bluish color, and that looks very similar to Alaska, which is on the left here. And that's showing the amount of solar radiation that both of them are receiving. Germany is our leading solar nation, and they produce more solar energy than any other country. And you can see that Pittsburgh is sort of this greenish color, and that's showing that we receive a lot more solar energy than Alaska, and of course, and also of Germany. So solar works very well here. And then there are states that are north of us, like New York and Connecticut and even Ontario and Canada, that are producing so much more energy than we are now. And what I always tell people is that we can produce as much solar here in Pittsburgh as you can in Arizona, just by adding another panel or two to your rooftop. So in Pennsylvania, we have more than 7,000 solar installations, and we are the 12th leading solar state in the nation. Most of that solar is in central and eastern Pennsylvania. So southwestern Pennsylvania, we're working really hard to make that number go up, and this campaign is really driving that increase as well. We narrow down into Allegheny County. We have about 200 installations in this county already, and that's all really just in the last 4 or 5 years that has happened, and that's true across the rest of the nation as well. And you can see that every year we've had more solar added onto our grid, and this line graph shows again the price of solar that has dropped in Pennsylvania, just as it has across the nation. And I'm pointing out here that little box that says without Pennsylvania Sunshine Rebate. We did have a rebate program here in Pennsylvania that ended in 2013. That was a grant from the state government that did expire. But what we know now is that the cost of solar is less than what it was when we had that grant program. So it is very affordable now, both solar. So if you're wondering what is Solarize and what does a Solarize campaign look like, I just want to give you a little overview of that. So Solarize, really, we're tapping into the community networks and working with our community leaders to do community outreach. We're moving the social norms and what people think about solar. We know that when someone in their neighborhood has solar, their other neighbors are twice as likely to go solar. So these kind of campaigns really change the views of people in our communities. We're going to be engaging volunteers and the community leaders as well, and those are the recipes for our success. And what we're trying to do is remove those barriers to going solar. Solar is a new technology for a lot of people, and sometimes seems very overwhelming to think about or how to evaluate whether their home is good for solar and what the benefits are. So the campaign really works by building trust in the technology, but also the people who are delivering the messages. So that's why we work so closely with you in the community and as the community leaders and also the volunteers, because you're a key to the success of this project. We also, another barrier that we look at removing is the complexity. And as I said, this is a new technology for a lot of people, and it's sometimes a little bit overwhelming. So we spend a lot of time giving people the tools and education to really understand what solar is all about, and provide them tools like the website and access to solar installers. And the campaigns actually work to decrease the overall cost of solar, because we're bringing a large number of people together and creating an environment for the installers to offer their best prices. And the campaigns, they are inspiring and fun, and a lot of people are very excited to participate in them. We create, they are short, they're about 20 weeks in Allegheny County, and that's really to inspire people to make a decision and move forward quickly, rather than spending a long time thinking about it. So we even create friendly competitions among the participating communities as well, to make it inspire the volunteers to try to work even harder. We know that solar is a successful product, and we believe that we need to market solar just as we do any other product. This technology has been around for decades. We know it works very, very well, and it lasts. It lowers energy costs for people, and it protects against the increases in electricity costs that we know come every year. We also have, and this is state, actually should just say federal incentives at this point. In Pennsylvania, or in the country, we have a 30% tax credit that will end at the end of 2016. So this is a really important time for people to consider solar and take advantage of that benefit. And there are also flexible financing financing options like zero money down that help people go solar and without having that hefty upfront cost. The other thing that makes Solarize successful is the streamlined customer experience. So we do make it easy for people to connect to qualified and pre-screened installers. We only work with local installers who have a track record and experience and training in solar installations. They offer transparent pricing and free, no obligation site evaluations. And people are supported through our campaign, and they can call us and ask for an unbiased opinion about their solar quotes or about the installers themselves as well. And these campaigns are super successful for the installers because we provide intensive marketing benefits. And it benefits all the installers, not just those participating in the campaign, because it raises the level of awareness across our whole community. We're bringing firm leads to installers, which means that we're bringing educated customers. They kind of know what they're getting into when they go to talk to the solar installer. They have a little more information to talk to the companies. And that results in customers who are more likely to purchase solar. Again, we're providing the solar education and financing educations to people before they interact with the installer, and bringing large numbers of customers to a company in a concentrated geographic area allows them really to reduce their costs that they typically spend in trying to find customers. And we assure a fair playing field for the customers and for the installer. Success has also come from this robust community education and outreach. We provide, by partnering with you, the community, and elevating this as a community-sponsored or community-supported program. We often typically have very motivated volunteers. Many of them are solar ambassadors, people who have already gone solar, and they are some of the biggest solar cheerleaders that we have. And so we work very closely with you. You are really the linchpin, the key to making this successful, and all the partner organizations that I mentioned before, and those that are very involved in your community. We use unbiased marketing and outreach, and again, provide those fun competitions and really recognize people for the work that they're doing and for those people who are going solar. I wanted to point out one of our flagship campaigns, Solarize Connecticut, as a demonstration of what can happen in these campaigns and because of the efforts of the communities. In Solarize Connecticut, we have worked with more than 58 communities now and installed 16 megawatts of solar. And that amounts to solar on more than 2,000 homes. And that's just in less than 3 years. And those campaigns have seen a reduction in the cost of solar by 20 to 25%. This graph shows the progression of solar, sort of before Solarize and during and after. And what you see is this gradual uptake and increase in solar adoption. And those were happening along with the incentives that the state was offering, which is great. But it wasn't until the Solarize projects hit these communities and this is phase 1 and 2. We now have completed phase 5, that we see the 70-fold increase in the amount of solar. And so the Solarize Connecticut project has produced about 1/3 of all the solar in Connecticut. Really dramatic results. And this is not, this is actually very common, this kind of pathway, what we see in most of our Solarize campaigns and what we're seeing now here in Solarize Allegheny already. So in Solarize Allegheny, our goal is to make solar simple and accessible. We are supported by a very respected organization, so it gives the campaign more elevation and in the eyes of people who are engaging with us. We also are providing the education, marketing outreach, and during this 20-week campaign. And we're using the Solarize Allegheny website to get quotes to customers and to the qualified installers. So the campaign itself, our original plan is that we will have 5 phases of Solarize campaigns. We are currently in phase 1 right now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But each of these campaigns, and of course you're considering applying for phase 2. With each of these campaigns, there's a 2-month startup period where once we've selected the communities, we work closely with you to plan out the strategy for the next 20 weeks of outreach, and looking at what kind of events might be happening in your community and what organizations that we can partner with, and planning that big launch event, which I'll talk about in a minute. So overall, this is about a 5 to 6 month project overall. Right now, we currently have funding for the first 2 phases from the Heinz endowments, and we're continuing to seek additional funding for phases 3 through 5. But each phase will have 3 to 5 communities participating or coalitions of communities. And over the 2 years, our plan is to engage with 25 communities that will host the Solarize Allegheny campaign. In the RFP, you'll notice that we have defined communities as an Allegheny County municipality or a City of Pittsburgh neighborhood or coalition. And we are not tackling the whole City of Pittsburgh. We rather break it down into neighborhoods because that's where people interact and where their social networks are. And so it actually is more successful on a little bit smaller scale. However, when it's too small, then it may not be as effective. So the really tiny communities or neighborhoods, we've encouraged to team up maybe with a neighbor. And that's exactly what's happened in Etna and Millville. They decided to apply as a joint campaign, and that's working very well there. The campaign will focus primarily on residents who want to go solar for their homes, but we have a number of commercial properties that are going through the campaign and trying to get quotes, which we highly encourage. So our goals are to promote an understanding of solar opportunity in the participating communities and at Allegheny County at large. And also really our goal is to double the number of installations in the county over these 2 years. As I said, there are 200 installations currently in the county, so we're trying to, of course, make that into 400. Our goal for each community is 10 signed contracts over that 20-week campaign. So our goal, we say, is 10 in 20. And that's really becoming possible. Point Breeze is already really close to reaching their goal. And of course, we want to spur the adoption of municipal solar-friendly practices. In the city, also, the City of Pittsburgh really currently has very friendly practices to solar. And so we're hoping that other municipalities adopt some of those practices that Penn Future worked on their Department of Energy grant to streamline permitting and zoning. So municipalities can go to www.pennfuture.org and /sunshot, SUNSHOT, to look at a streamlined zoning and permitting process. And of course, we're trying to strengthen the overall market for solar throughout the county. So, Solarize Allegheny. How does that work? We really focus a lot on the events and community outreach to try to engage as many people as we can throughout that 20 weeks. Smart Power will have a presence in the community throughout the program, and we do that by various different things. The very first engagement with the community is the launch event, and that event really just signals the very beginning of the campaign. So we don't slowly roll it out. We we make a great big deal out of this launch event, and wait to let people engage into the campaign until this happens. And they're typically really fun events. In the 4 communities that have participated already, we had an average of 40 to 70 people who would come out to each of those 4 launch events. And a lot of those people are the people who end up buying solar. So they're really important events to launch the campaign, and we do a lot of press around them for your community. Then after that, we can continue to do other educational events and workshops. We will exhibit at other community events, fairs, they have farmers markets or things like that. There are volunteers who are excited and they want to get their neighbors excited, so they'll hold coffees or wine tastings or something like that, and we'll come and talk to neighborhoods. And then once solar is going up in the neighborhoods, which is happening right now in Point Breeze, we'll go out and try to have an installation party where people and the neighbors could come around and watch the solar going up and make a big deal and make a lot of fun out of it. We also provide all the promotional materials to the communities, and these are some of the materials that we've used already in the campaign. Each community will get a banner, which is in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see that it says solar makes sense for, in this case it's Point Breeze, but it would be your community name. And we chose the tagline solar makes sense very intentionally because it makes sense for people for lots of different reasons. Some people it makes sense for because they feel like they're helping the environment. Other people it makes sense financially for them to go solar, and that's really what they key in on. So we kind of let people decide what it is and why it makes sense for them. But in addition to the banners, we provide flyers, the website solarizeallegheny.org you can go on to, and each community will have its own page in there, and I'll show you an example of that. You can go on that website right now and see that. We have yard signs. We'll be doing social media on Twitter and Facebook, and then we try to get as much press and earned media in the local newspapers and other online media outlets that we can. So the campaign is a 4-step process. Communities apply to be a Solarized community. We launch your campaign, then there's a 20-week outreach process and connecting as many customers as we can to the installers. And then at the end, we celebrate and share the results and make a really big deal out of it. So first step, communities apply to be a Solarized community. Phase 1, we have the neighborhood in the city of Point Breeze. Millville and Etna are a team, as I said, Moon Township and South Fayette Township. So they launched their launch parties or workshops were in February and March. And to date, we have 135 people who have requested quotes and 9 signed contract. I think we're almost at our 10th this week, which is a really great because it usually takes people at least a month to start making decisions about going solar. So we're really excited about the progress so far. Last year in Allegheny County, there were only 14 signed contracts that went up throughout the whole year. So we're on track really to kind of hopefully blow that out of the water by the end of this year. The second step is that launch that I mentioned. And here's a picture of the Point Breeze launch where we did a workshop at a local church. And this actually had 70 people who came to learn about solar, and several of them have already signed those contracts and are going solar now. And then there are other, like this is Moon Township, and people do lots of different fun things. We typically do an educational workshop. There were 2 events where volunteers decided to have more of a fun kickoff, where one was held at Pino's Restaurant, which you see down there in the bottom half, and Dan Gilman, Councilman Dan Gilman, came and has supported that campaign very nicely. So we try to get the community leaders to participate, and when they do, people are more engaged and feel like it's really supported by the community and trusted. Our campaign outreach really involves you as a really integral part of this process. And we ask that you stay engaged throughout the full campaign. And we'll be supporting you with frequent phone calls or meetings with you, coming to events. We draft and write press releases. We'll be updating the webpage and Facebook and Twitter accounts, and providing you with all those education and marketing materials and other media. The website, if you haven't been on it, looks like this. And you'll notice that on the upper right-hand corner, there's this blue button that says, find out if your home is good for solar. So folks can go into that. They can enter their address and their electric bill, and that will connect them with our pre-qualified installers, which we have 4 who are participating in the campaign right now. Truthfully, there's really 2 who are really active in the campaign, and we feel that they will probably be leading phase 2 as well, and that's Scalo Solar and Energy Independent Solutions. But going through the campaign, it makes it very easy for people. They don't have to pick up the phone and call each of the installers. The information goes out to them, and then the installers will contact them directly and help them through the process and give them a quote. This is a community page that's on the web page, and so each community that's participating will have its own page. There are events that will be listed and pictures, and we have solar testimonials of other people in that community who have already gone solar. And of course, at the end of the campaign, we'll have a big celebration to kick off the end of the campaign, basically. And we support the community in building on the success of Solarize. So we want to connect community members with energy efficiency programs that some of our partners are doing. We also want to consider engaging community in other opportunities to install solar, and help the community think through how to leverage the momentum of Solarize to accomplish other sustainability objectives at that point, while you've already built up this excitement and engaged hundreds of people in your community. The other thing that we find extremely helpful and really actually crucial to the campaigns are the solar testimonials from people who have already gone solar. And we have a number of these, and we're continuing to build them. If you do know others who are not part of our scene on our campaign and they'd like to do this, please send them my way. But we typically have a solar installer, or I'm sorry, a solar owner come to our events, and people who are thinking about solar really like to engage with them and ask them all sorts of questions. And we also do solar tours of solar homes where they have that opportunity to talk to people. We've done 2 of those in Point Breeze, and a lot of people who are going solar have been on those tours where they had the opportunity to talk to existing solar owners. The last thing I wanted to do was touch on this question about how much does it cost to go solar, because really everybody is asking that and they really want to understand it. And so the first thing I usually say to people is what it costs you not to go solar, because we know that the cost of doing nothing over the next 25 years will really be about $30,000 to $35,000 that a homeowner will be paying to the utility over that time. But solar, in fact, will save people between anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 during that time period. And even with a loan that's spread over 20 years, that can save a homeowner more than $10,000. So solar and the cost of solar has reached a point where it is actually really accessible and affordable to almost anybody that owns their home and has a good access to solar. So an example of a 5 kilowatt system, which is a very average system. Some homeowners will have a larger system, some smaller, and it's all based on the amount of electricity that people are using in their homes. This system would cost an average of about $20,000. We have that 30% federal tax credit that's available till the end of 2016. So the final investment is around $14,000. A lot of people don't want to pay all that upfront. So we have a large number of people who are going solar who are using home equity lines of credit or other loan products to spread that investment over a time frame that's more, 15 or 20 years. And by doing that, they're finding that they're paying that monthly loan payment is about what they're paying for their electric bill. So we now are at this point of either owning our electricity or renting it still from the utility. And the URA, the Urban Redevelopment Authority in the city, has a home efficiency program, loan program with a 0% interest rate that's available to people of qualifying incomes that makes solar really much cheaper than what people are paying for their electric bill right now. The other thing that you may have heard of, we have the solar renewable energy credit in Pennsylvania. So for each megawatt hour of electricity that people produce every year, they earn a credit. And so this typical example 5 kilowatt system would produce about 5 SRECs or credits every year. And so that would amount to somewhere around 150 to 180, and the price of those credits does vary, but it is another added financial benefit to having solar. And lastly, our installers. To be qualified to participate in our program, we wanted the best of our local installers. And so we have requirements that they had to participate, had to be in business for at least 3 years. They had to have the National American Board of Certified Energy Professionals or be a master electrician. They have to maintain a good reputation in the community with the Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Angie's List, any of those kind of things, and live and work in Western Pennsylvania. For the RFP process, if you have questions about how to fill it out or what we're asking for, please email me if it's not clear or if you just want to talk it through. But in essence, this is what we're looking for. We're looking that you have a core team of volunteers or people from the municipality who have a real interest in the campaign, of course, and maybe even broader than that in environmental or energy issues. So we'd like to know a little bit about your team's experience and why you're interested, and what are the partnerships that you can bring to the campaign. What's the level of commitment identified in the proposal? So we don't ask that the team or municipality provide any financial support, but we do want this support through participation. And of that core team, we'd like to have one person that's a project lead, and the ability of the project lead to successfully collaborate on a clean energy campaign or coordinate and support the efforts of a variety of stakeholders with assistance from us and the volunteers is really very important to us. And the other additional resources that you might bring. A lot of communities have these communication networks of newsletters and mailings, social media, or events that they hold throughout the time frame where we might be doing the campaign that we could plug into and that you would help us plug into, or organizations that are really active in the community that you have connections with. Those are really helpful resources for us. And also looking for those communities that have an existing commitment to clean energy and sustainability. We have a lot of communities that participated in the Department of Energy Sunshot Project for permitting and zoning that I mentioned before. There are also environmental advisory committees in many communities. and a whole slew of other initiatives. Some communities now have sustainability coordinators, and we're seeing all sorts of variety of different resources there. And what's your level of involvement and interest from the leadership in your community? So if in the city, you're a council person or your neighborhood development organization, or in the municipality, your mayor or president of your council or borough manager, are they committed and are they willing to get the word out and have the community really support and say they support the project? And I'll just say this community pieces are really very rewarding for us to work with. We have lots of fun and lots of really awesome energy from people participating in Solarize. So I hope that you do apply and that I get to work with you. And I always like to end with this quote from Thomas Edison. "I'd put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power. I hope we don't have to wait till oil and coal run out before we tackle that." And I'm really excited that Western Pennsylvania is known as the energy capital and hub of the country. And if we can work together to make that the clean energy hub, even better. So again, if you have questions, please email me at pillar@smartpower.org or call my cell phone 412-215-5995. And I look forward to engaging with you. Thank you so much for your time.